Yes, I hate him. And when the truth comes out, you'll understand everything.
The Lakers just cracked down the middle, and the NBA feels like it's on the edge of chaos. Reports are flying that Luka Doncic ran into Bronny James in a hallway, and things got heated fast, turning into a full-blown confrontation that nobody saw coming. But that's only the beginning. Now there's talk spreading everywhere about a rumored situation involving Bronny James and Luka's ex, and somehow LeBron's name is getting pulled into the middle of it all. Yeah, it sounds wild, but the story keeps getting deeper the more you look into it. Fans still remember that tunnel footage from February, and if you really paid attention, you could tell something was off right away. LeBron was walking several steps ahead, like he didn't even want to be near Luka, while Luka stayed back, clearly keeping his distance too. That didn't look like normal competitive energy. It felt personal. Of course, the media brushed it off, saying it was just two stars with strong personalities clashing. But behind the scenes, people are saying the Lakers' PR team has been working non-stop to keep things quiet because this situation could shake the entire franchise. We're talking about tension that could break apart one of the most expensive duos the league has ever seen. And honestly, the signs had been there for a while. Word is that LeBron and his circle were pushing Luka into mentoring Bronny, trying to force a role that didn't exactly fit. Think about that for a second. An MVP-level player being asked to slow down and guide a rookie through the basics. It didn't sit right, even if Luka tried to stay professional and focus on the team. But everything reportedly changed when Luka found out about the alleged connection between Bronny and his ex. That's where things crossed a serious line. The timing made it even worse, coming during a period when Luka was already dealing with heavy personal stress involving his family. It's one thing to deal with pressure as a young player in the spotlight. It's something completely different when personal relationships get tangled up with teammates, especially when emotions are already running high. That kind of situation can push anyone to their limit. Imagine Luka's perspective for a second. He's handling one of the toughest stretches of his life, dealing with family issues and legal stress, while trying to perform at the highest level on the court. Then he hears about this situation involving someone inside his own team circle. That's the kind of news that can hit hard. Reports claim Luka confronted Bronny in a private area away from cameras, and the encounter turned intense. Sources describe it as a heated moment that escalated quickly before anyone else could step in. It wasn't something the public was ever supposed to see. Meanwhile, the Lakers are doing everything they can to present a united front. There's too much money, too much reputation, and too much legacy tied into keeping things under control. But tension like this doesn't just disappear, no matter how polished things look on the surface. Every time LeBron steps into that proud father role, some people see it differently now. It creates a contrast that's hard to ignore, especially with Luka dealing with serious challenges in his personal life, while everything around Bronny seems to be moving forward smoothly. The contrast alone is enough to spark conversation. If you're wondering how Bronny could even end up connected to Luka's ex, that's where things take another turn. Because to really understand why Luka reached that breaking point, you have to look at what was happening behind the scenes during one of the most intense periods of his life. December 6th, 2025. That date stands out because it marked a moment that should have been joyful, but turned complicated fast. Luka traveled to Slovenia for the birth of his second daughter, Olivia, a moment that should have been unforgettable for all the right reasons. Instead, reports say there was a serious dispute at the hospital involving Luka and his then-fiancée, Anna Maria. The situation escalated enough that local authorities were called in, turning a private family moment into something much bigger. The disagreement reportedly centered around Luka wanting to bring his older daughter, Gabriella, back to Los Angeles so he could stay present in her life. But Anna Maria pushed back, and the situation quickly became tense and emotional. Despite everything, Luka had to leave shortly after and return to the US, stepping right back onto the court while dealing with all of this off-court pressure. Imagine trying to focus on games while your personal life feels like it's falling apart. And while Luka was locked in, trying to keep everything together, something else was quietly unfolding. Because during that same time, a new name reportedly started appearing more and more: Bronny. This wasn't just some random follow on social media. It looked way more deliberate than that. The interactions kept stacking up, message after message, lining up perfectly with the exact moment things between Anna Maria and Luka started falling apart. That timing, way too precise to ignore. Because how do you explain this? Anna Maria suddenly clears her entire Instagram of Luka in early March, and then just days later, she files a lawsuit in California that could seriously impact Luka's finances. That's not just coincidence. That's a sequence that raises eyebrows fast. March 10th, 2026. Lock that date in, because that's when everything shifted. That's the day Anna Maria officially filed for child support in California, even though she and the kids are based in Slovenia. Normally, a case like that would stay local, but this move changed the entire playing field. Here's where it gets complicated. She filed under laws that allow cases to be handled in California because Luka earns his income there. And since his contract is massive, the potential payments being discussed are huge, far beyond what would typically apply back in Slovenia. That's a serious financial move. Now step back and think about it. Are we really supposed to believe someone living thousands of miles away just figured out a complex legal strategy tied to US law all on their own? Or is there more going on behind the scenes that we're not seeing? That's why the rumors have been spreading like wildfire. People around the league are connecting dots, suggesting that while Luka was dealing with personal challenges, others in his circle may have been influencing things in a completely different direction. And those whispers keep pointing back to the same names. There's also talk that while Luka was focused on his family, Bronny was out in Los Angeles, introducing Anna Maria to a lifestyle Luka reportedly wasn't comfortable with. That adds another layer to the situation, especially if values and priorities were already clashing. And this situation might not just be about relationships or money. It could be about control and influence. Luka has always seemed like someone who keeps things simple. Play basketball, stay focused, avoid distractions. But not everyone around him moves that way. Some reports even suggest that Luka had been invited into certain high-profile social circles multiple times and chose to stay away. If that's true, it paints a picture of someone trying to stay grounded while everything around him pulls in the opposite direction. So what happens when a star player refuses to play along with certain expectations? That's the question people are asking right now. Because from the outside, it's starting to look like pressure is building from multiple angles, both on and off the court. And when you watch Luka and LeBron on the floor now, keeping their distance, it starts to make more sense. That tension didn't come out of nowhere. It feels like the result of months of unresolved issues stacking up behind the scenes. It also brings back that earlier situation, LeBron pushing Luka to mentor Bronny. Even now, it still sounds like an awkward fit. You've got one of the league's top players already carrying a huge load, being asked to guide a rookie through the basics. That was never going to sit smoothly. And let's be real about expectations for a second. Luka came into the league with elite experience at a young age, already performing at a high level overseas. Comparing that path to a rookie still finding his footing in the NBA, that gap is real and everyone can see it. Meanwhile, there's growing chatter that LeBron is focused on setting up Bronny's future in a big way. Not just playing together, but making sure he's positioned as a key piece moving forward. That kind of influence can shift decisions at the highest level. Some insiders even claim there's pressure to give Bronny meaningful minutes in big games. And if that's happening, it creates a tough situation for a team trying to compete at the highest level, especially with Luka putting up huge numbers night after night. Because while Luka is out there carrying the load, scoring, rebounding, assisting, doing everything, Bronny is still adjusting to the speed and intensity of the league. That contrast is hard to ignore, and it only adds more fuel to an already tense situation. Honestly, this whole situation feels like a disrespect to the game itself. Luka is in the middle of his prime, and instead of building a championship system around him, it's starting to look like everything is being shaped around a family storyline. That's a tough reality to ignore, and if you want proof, go back to that February 24th game against the Orlando Magic. The Lakers lost 110-109 after the offense completely stalled in the final minutes. Luka still delivered with 22 points and 15 assists, doing everything he could to keep the team alive. But then came the post-game moment that raised eyebrows. LeBron stood in front of the media and pointed the blame toward Luka.
I'm not sure. I mean, obviously you have to ask Luka what he saw on that, but I thought he had a good look, and it looked like he kind of just lost his balance.
That didn't sit right with a lot of people watching. It felt like a classic shift of responsibility at the worst possible time. Because think about it, if the narrative turns toward Luka being the problem, it takes attention away from bigger questions about roster decisions and rotations. And those are questions fans are starting to ask more loudly now. Then things escalated even further when Rich Paul added his voice into the mix. On his podcast back in January, he started talking about how the Lakers might need a defensive anchor like Jaren Jackson Jr. to truly compete. Sounds reasonable at first, right? But the details told a different story. Because the name brought up in trade discussions wasn't random. It was Austin Reeves, a player many see as one of Luka's closest allies on the team. and the way he was described simply as an asset.
If I was the Lakers, I would probably be targeting the Memphis Grizzlies as a trade partner for Jaren Jackson.
That wording alone felt cold and calculated. Look at the bigger picture here. Moving Reeves wouldn't just be about defense. It would shift the locker room dynamic. It would remove someone Luka trusts and potentially leave him more isolated within the system. That's the part people aren't ignoring. And here's where it gets even more interesting. The numbers don't back up that move at all. Advanced stats from the 2025-26 season show the Lakers actually perform better when Luka and Reeves share the floor. We're talking about stronger efficiency, smoother ball movement, and a noticeably better rhythm on offense. The net rating tells the story clearly. Luka and Reeves together, strong positive impact. Luka paired with LeBron, the numbers dip significantly. That's not opinion, that's production. Even more telling, the Lakers have had real success in games where Luka and Reeves play without LeBron in the lineup. That chemistry looks natural, not forced. It flows in a way fans can immediately recognize. Reeves himself has hinted in interviews that things aren't exactly simple behind the scenes. He's mentioned spending time with Luka away from the facility, building that connection separately. That says a lot without saying too much. Now imagine being Luka in this situation. You're putting together an MVP-level season, carrying the team night after night, and instead of maximizing that window, decisions are being made that don't fully align with winning right now. That's frustrating. No way around it. And then there's the rotation issue. Every minute given to a developing rookie is a minute not going to a proven contributor who could help close tight games. In a league where margins are razor thin, those choices matter more than ever. Statistically, the team has struggled in certain stretches when the rotation shifts, defensive numbers dip, efficiency takes a hit, and yet the public conversation keeps circling back to Luka needing to do more. That disconnect is what's catching attention. At the same time, there's growing belief that LeBron is focused on shaping the next chapter of his legacy, and part of that includes positioning Bronny for a bigger role. That's a powerful objective, especially when you have influence at every level of the organization. But here's where it gets really intense. The basketball world isn't staying quiet anymore. Former players, analysts, and legends have started speaking up, and they're not sugarcoating their opinions. During a summer league game in Las Vegas, Jaylen Brown was picked up on a sideline camera saying something that immediately went viral. "I don't think Bronny is a pro." That moment spread fast because it echoed what some people had been quietly tats. Then you have Charles Barkley, who never holds back. On national television, he called the entire situation a bad look and questioned the direction the Lakers are taking.
Of course, he's going to attract a lot of bets. I don't think that's going to come to fruition, but just in terms of how LeBron and the Lakers have handled this whole situation, what are your thoughts on that?
He's handled it awful. Awful.
When Barkley speaks like that, people listen. His main point hit hard. When personal goals start overlapping with team success, it can create serious problems, especially in a league where every roster spot is earned through performance. He also pointed out something a lot of players in the system feel. There are guys grinding in the G League, putting up strong numbers, waiting for a real opportunity. And when roster decisions become controversial, it raises tough questions about fairness. Even Magic Johnson weighed in, and his tone said everything. When he suggested Bronny might need more development time, it came across as a careful but clear message. That kind of statement doesn't happen without reason. And the media, they're starting to shift too. Stephen A. Smith, who has long supported LeBron, has publicly pushed back on the narrative. He's made it clear that forcing expectations onto a young player can actually do more harm than good.
Right now, Bronny James is averaging 0.3 points, 0.3 assists, and 0.4 rebounds.
Because at the end of the day, building hype that doesn't match performance creates pressure. And pressure like that can affect everyone involved. But the push continues because the brand, the legacy, and the future are all tied together in a way that's impossible to ignore. Nobody delivered it more and unfiltered than Kwame Brown, the former #1 pick, who knows exactly what it feels like to be judged under a microscope, stepped in and called things out with zero hesitation. He didn't sugarcoat anything. Kwame pointed straight at the early years, saying Bronny wasn't even the top player on his high school team at Sierra Canyon. He was surrounded by elite recruits who were getting most of the spotlight, and that already had people questioning the hype. Then it continued at USC. where his production stayed limited. Kwame highlighted those numbers too, making it clear that the concerns didn't just appear overnight, they've been building for a while. And when you look at the current season stats, the gap becomes even harder to ignore. Reports show the Lakers' offensive rating drops significantly when Bronny is on the floor, sitting near 101. Compare that to when Luka is running things and it jumps up around 118. That's a massive swing that stands out immediately. So when former players, analysts, and the numbers are all pointing in the same direction, people start asking bigger questions, not just about performance, but about decisions being made behind the scenes. Because from one angle, this situation isn't just about basketball, it's about legacy. If expectations don't match reality, the spotlight gets even brighter. And when that spotlight is tied to one of the biggest names the sport has ever seen, every move gets magnified. Some believe that pressure can lead to tension, especially when control, influence, and long-term plans are all in play. But what stands out the most is this: Luka hasn't backed down from any of it. Despite everything swirling around him, both on and off the court, Luka has responded the only way he knows how, by putting on unreal performances night after night. That's what elite players do when the pressure hits. They elevate. We're talking about huge stat lines, dominant scoring, and playmaking that keeps him at the top of the league. Numbers like 30-plus points and near double-digit assists aren't just impressive, they're a statement. And when Luka spoke to the media, he said it plainly: "Basketball is giving me some kind of peace." That line hits different when you understand everything happening around him. Because for Luka, the court isn't just a workplace, it's an escape. It's the one place where everything slows down, where the noise fades, and where he can fully control the moment. No outside pressure, no distractions, just the game. Meanwhile, inside the team environment, things feel divided. There's a clear split in energy, in priorities, and in direction. And not everyone is staying quiet about it. Austin Reeves has been one of the few voices showing strong support for Luka. Whether it's through interviews or their on-court chemistry, it's clear there's mutual trust there. That connection stands out in a big way. While different narratives continue to circulate publicly, Reeves has kept it focused on basketball, highlighting Luka's IQ, his leadership, and the results they produce together. And the numbers back that up every time they share the floor. When you step back and look at everything, this situation feels bigger than just wins and losses. It's about roles, expectations, and the direction of an entire franchise. And right now, those things don't seem fully aligned. At its core, this whole Lakers situation is exposing something deeper: how difficult it is to balance personal goals, team success, and long-term legacy all at once. That's not easy for any organization, no matter how big the names are. Because Luka didn't come to Los Angeles to play a background role. He came to compete, to lead, and to chase championships. And that mindset isn't changing anytime soon. So now, it comes down to this: what's really going on behind the scenes, and who's truly shaping the future of this team? What do you think? Is Bronny being put in a tough position, or is the pressure coming from bigger decisions at the top? Let me know your take in the comments. And if you rocked with this breakdown, make sure you like, subscribe, and share this with someone who's been following this situation. Don't miss what's coming next. See you in the next one.